Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of The Villainess, a South Korean action film from 2017. Now, as the DVD plot synopsis says, bloody revenge is at the heart of this stylish, kinetic action thriller that gives a welcome shot of adrenaline to the classic femme fatale story. Honed from childhood into a merciless killing machine by a criminal organization, an assassin is recruited as a sleeper agent, with the promise of freedom after 10 years of service, and she jumps at the chance for a normal life. But soon enough, secrets from her past destroy everything she's worked for, and now nobody can stand in her way as she embarks on a roaring rampage of revenge. So since this is an action movie, let's talk about the action first. The way this film is shot is very different from a lot of other movies because it blends in a first-person perspective with a third-person perspective. And it does this at times within the same action sequence. Also, some of the fights play out like they were filmed in one continuous shot. Even though they use certain editing tricks along the way, this makes the action scenes feel seamless and complete, with a beginning, middle, and an end. This is kind of a major rarity in the world of action cinema, and it makes The Villainess a very unique and exciting experience. Now, the camera does move and shake quite a bit during the fights, but I didn't mind it much because I could still clearly see everything that was happening. Personally, I would have preferred if they slowed the camera down just a notch. But with that said, I had the benefit of rewatching the action scenes multiple times because I bought this on physical media, and I do think that the viewer will appreciate the action even more after repeat viewings because you might catch a few things that you missed the first time around. The action is spaced out nicely as well. You get an opening gang lair assault, which is fantastic, an attempted escape sequence, a motorcycle chase fight involving swords, which could be my favorite scene in the entire film, a brief but nicely violent escort assassination scene, and the big finale, which is quite satisfying. Now, I have read some reviews that compared the camera work to this film to a film called Hardcore Henry from 2015. That was easily one of the worst films I've seen from the past few years. It's a visual mess of poorly crafted, poorly shot, random nonsense that seems more focused on being obnoxious and painfully unfunny than anything else. That film had no rhythm to it, and watching it is the equivalent of someone constantly screaming in your face for 97 minutes. So if the filmmakers behind The Villainess used Hardcore Henry as an inspiration for the first-person perspective gimmicks that are used in this film, I have no problem with it, because it's done 10 times better here anyways. All of the action sequences are properly set up and flow very nicely, with an internal consistency to them. You know, instead of having just completely random crap thrown at you from all directions. There's no stupid juvenile frat boy humor as well to kind of roll your eyes at. So, if you were unfortunate enough to sit through the steaming pile of crap known as Hardcore Henry, I think you should definitely give The Villainess a shot because it's a far better film overall. And 95% of The Villainess is shot conventionally in a third-person perspective, you know, like a normal film. Maybe 5% of it was shot in the first person. So you don't have to really worry too much about that if you don't like it that much. So what about the plot? Well, from the aforementioned synopsis, it has basic similarities to previous female assassin films like Femme from 1990, which also included like a secret organization and a forced training regiment to reintegrate the protagonist into society. Now, if you have not seen Femme, I definitely recommend that film. A very good movie that has influenced a lot of other films that came afterward, including The Villainess. Now, one of the differences, plot-wise, between the two films is that our protagonist in The Villainess is a proficient badass right from the start of this film. And throughout the film, we get flashbacks to her childhood and years of training with her mentor lover, played by Ha-kyun, the lead actor from Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. Now, the traumatic event in this woman's life was the murder of her father when she was a child, and she's still trying to figure out who was ultimately responsible for that. She also has a little daughter that she has to protect amidst all of the violent encounters. So the drama in this film can really be broken up into two different parts. You have like the dramatic conflict and the character development. Now, in terms of the dramatic conflict, I think it's actually pretty strong in this movie. By the end of the film, I really wanted the bad guy and his henchmen to die violent deaths, for sure. There was a few intense moments down the stretch to help set up that finale. And I think the conflict was enough to hold the viewer's interest in between the action set pieces. Now, in terms of character development, it was okay. You know, there was definitely some room for improvement here. The romantic subplot was a bit flimsy and lacking in complexity. I also think it would have benefited from showing a few normal life interests of this protagonist. Because remember, this secret organization wants her to assimilate into society while she's doing these assassinations over this 10-year period. And the profession that she chose was stage acting. So it would have been nice if they spent a few more minutes on her interest in that profession. It would have given an extra layer of depth, I think, to her character. Maybe connected to a stage play that she saw as a child with her father before he passed away or something. You know what I mean? One thing that helps matters, though, is the female lead, Ok-vin Kim, who is very talented and proficient at convincingly portraying strong emotion in films. Now, I do give the script credit for giving her some scenes of strong emotion, which helped to breathe some life into her character. You know, it prevented it from being just like a monotonous assassin type performance. She definitely has some high points and low points that help to give her some life and make her a little bit more relatable as a character. So overall, I definitely recommend The Villainess, which is widely available on DVD and Blu-ray. This is the kind of movie that I'm happy to have in my collection because I'm definitely going to rewatch it quite a bit into the future. It definitely gives you that like adrenaline rush that you want out of an action film. So I definitely recommend it. And as always, I will see you next time.